Hey, what can go with love? Today we're going to talk a little bit about a subtle principle called touch, don't blend. It comes up a lot, particularly in today's world, which is how do we interface with those around us, particularly as the level of chaos is increasing in the world, the level of people feeling separated and hating each other. How do you interface with that? How do you be at peace with that? And one of the key kind of discoveries as I'm looking at having spoken in over 40 nations and met with people from over 128 different nations here at the Tree of Life. Having lived in central Harlem for 3 years, lived and worked there for 3 years, and community organized, and working with black gangs in the south side of Chicago. I began trying to examining this. And trying to get insight even for myself. How come this has worked? And I remember the great teaching by Martin Luther King, which is don't judge a person by the quality, by the color of the skin, but by the quality of their character. And I look about the interface. It's like, what does that mean when you're being in all these different places and being really the minority kind of person in whatever culture you're in? How do you make that connection? How does that work? And so I've been examining a little bit how it's worked, at least how I've worked with it for myself. And I gotta say, more intuitively rather than being conscious. But I'm working on my 16th editing of my book, Into the Nothing, and felt it was time to really get a little clearer on the question. And what I saw in this touch don't blend is that we don't have to be like the other person. We don't have to join them in kind of a cultural way or whatever, but something needs to happen to make a connection. And what I saw for myself, it was connecting to the light within the other person, resonating with the light within the other person, and or within that other group. And that seemed to be a key thing. It's been subtle, but the key is that in every race, religion, culture, tribe, whatever, there are people really resonating light. They really have that light. And there are people who don't. And when I'm examining all the different social situations I've been in, it's this sense of tuning into and resonating with those into that particular group who are really resonating light. Something magically happens when we're, again, touching, not blending. We don't have to be like someone. We don't have to mimic them or pretend you're this way or that. It's a key that you're really yourself in the context, yet resonate with the light in the other people, which is beyond character. It's really a subtle distinction in teaching. But it really goes to the core. The Baal Shem Tov, the great Hasidic master, talked about Yehudim, where it's like raising the sparks, connecting with the light in the world in the variety of ways, and raising the sparks and joining with it. Now, that was a way of talking about it, I think. The key here is touching that light. I've always been in a place where I'm just myself, and I don't try to be someone else's cultures unless there's, let's say, certain cultural things you have to do so people don't freak out. But besides that, it's like, how do you be your unique expression of the light um, in different cultures without trying to mimic their culture, which actually doesn't get you brownie points. Because we kind of act like in some of these cultures, often people get a little insulted in a way. So um, don't play that game. But so it is the idea of seeing the light in the other person, in other people, and resonating with it. I remember um, a friend of mine who was Muslim, and his father ran a mosque. And his father invited me to the mosque. And really, you don't just go to a mosque, when you clearly have a different faith and a different uh, um, background. But he took me there. This was in actually Israel, and we just had a fabulous connection because this guy was really in the light. He was really on, and we just connected in that way, and it was way beyond religion. It was way beyond character. It was like we were like two light beings resonating, and that was one of the keys for helping me understand how we bridge the different tribal things and so forth. Is there are other people, no matter what it is, who have that light within them. There are people who have that darkness, and no matter what culture, there are people who have the darkness. Okay, and the key is seeking that light and resonating with it, and through that, was able to touch in to that deeper soul connection that people really have the ability to make, and actually are happy to make once you're resonating in that field. People get it. So that to me has been kind of become a little bit more conscious, uh, rather than intuitive way of understanding how we can touch in that blend. It's like resonating with the light and honoring the light, and also discovering the light in other people of different races, tribes, religions, nations, cultures. Doesn't matter. So may everybody be blessed that we are open to seeing that light, to experience that light in people from all different backgrounds. And that way, we touch into something very profound. Peace be with you. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Takilas.